friends, this is Joy. So I'm doing an art journal page for the Year of Gratitude with Dinah Wakely, and this is for the September challenge. I am grateful for reflection, and I am using my Dinah Wakely Media Journal, and I'm using Dinah Wakely acrylic paints. So I just am putting the paint on a couple of areas on this page, and I sprayed the page with water to start with, and then I'm using a really wet brush because I wanted these colors to blend and be soft on this art journal page. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just getting the colors on here and blending the colors together to just put some color on the page to start with and give it a quick background here. And I wanted to add this orange, but I have to be careful because if I blend too much, then it's going to turn into mud. And I kind of did on the left side there, you'll see here in a minute, but I ended up blotting some of that up. So it, was softer and, wasn't too bad. And then after I got the colors on the page and I was happy with that, I decided that I wanted to soften the edges on the top and the bottom of the page. So I just took a really wet brush and softened those edges and brought the color up and then down to cover the rest of the page. And it seemed like it was puddling in the middle, and so I was trying to blot that up a little bit so that it didn't seep through to other pages. And I thought maybe it had, and I checked, but I didn't see where it had seeped through. And I've had that happen on other journal pages, and it's kind of frustrating when you finish a journal page and then you got paint seeping through from another page, and that just kind of messes it up. But anyhow, I gave it a quick dry, and I had this picture that I got out of the Dinah Wakely collage collection that I thought would go good on this page for this challenge. And I was just going to put it on there as a picture, but then I decided I wanted to make it into a tag. So I snipped off the top corner. I went around the whole thing with the black Stays On ink pad. I punched a hole in the top of the picture so that I could make it into a tag. And then I decided that instead of putting something in the hole, I would just color around it with a black marker so that it looks like that there's something on there. So I just did that really quick, and then I got some string or raffia, whatever you call it, that I had in a basket that's beside my desk, and decided to tie that onto this to turn it into a tag. At first I just doubled it up and put it on there, but it was pretty long string, so I thought, well, I'm going to double up again and put it on there and see how that looks, and I like that better. So once I get that on there, then I just kind of cut where the end was, so then I have like two different strings on here. So I'm looking at the this little tag I made, and I'm trying to take some of the elements from it, and it has like a honeycomb, and I made several errors with this page, but I left them all in so that you could see. And I had this honeycomb stencil, and I thought I could use it as a stamp, but you see there, it didn't work. So that was really disappointing. So then I'm like, well, shoot. I kind of wanted the honeycomb, design on there. So then I thought, well, maybe I could just take a black marker and then trace around it, but then I was not really happy with that either. So I was like, well, now what am I going to do? So I really wanted to get some honeycomb shapes on here to match what was on the tag. So then I had this, I got this at Lowe's, and I don't know if it's a sander or what it is, but I like the shapes of the honeycombs on here. So I tried to use that as a stamp, and you can see that wasn't working, and I'm like, dang it. I was getting a little frustrated with this page, and I'm like, why does it gotta be, it can't be this hard. So I had to kind of go through my, stencils and try to see what else I could find um, that has a honeycomb shape to it. And I have this Dinah Wakely stencil here. So I'm like, honeycomb. Okay, we're going to go with this. So I decided to do it in white. And so I put some white down, made even, more mistakes here. I decided to try to use this dauber, but that wasn't working. So I grabbed a brush, tried to use that, and that just smushed the paint all underneath the stencil. And it's like, this isn't your first rodeo. I don't know what I was thinking. I've done this so many times, and I know better not to use a brush because then the paint always goes up underneath the stencil. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to stress about it. I'm just going to get a dauber that works, which these little sponge daubers work. Or, you can use like a makeup sponge or whatever, which I have some. I just can't remember where they're at. And I tried to go over it again because that where I drew that one thing, it was seeping through. You can still see it. So I tried to paint over it a couple of times. You'll see me painting over it several times to try to cover it up, and it would not cover up. It still kept coming up through the white paint. So I used this on other areas of the background, and I'm like, well, this is going to have to be good enough. It's, honeycomb shapes and stuff, which is what I was looking for. So I did this around the page, and I did it in, yep, one more spot. And then I decided that, or two more spots, here's another spot. And so then I decided that I really kind of wanted those to stand out a little bit better. And so I got the black pen, and I always clean my stencils off because, I pay good money for them and I want to take care of them and make sure they last a long time. So here I'm looking at that black that's coming up through the white, and I try to cover it, like I said, several times, but it still kept coming up through the white paint. So what I ended up doing to cover that is I ended up using a white Posca pen, and it's just a paint pen. Posca is just a brand, and so I just used that and covered it up with that, and that took care of it. So I was glad for that. But like I said, I wanted these to stand out a little bit better, and so I decided that I was going to trace around them with a black pen. And so I got my black pen out, and actually I think, yeah, this is a felt tip pen, and decided to go around each of the honeycombs on the ones that I, put on here with white paint to kind of, help them stand out a little bit more and give that shape. And so even though I kind of smushed up, that, first attempt up in the left-hand corner, I mean, once I did this, you almost couldn't even tell I kind of goofed it up. So here I'm finishing up tracing those. I figured I'd skip ahead because, it's all the same, and, takes takes longer, and so I try to shorten my videos. And I decided that on the tag there was some like little circles there, and so I wanted to kind of duplicate those on the page. And I was going to use a scribble stick, the black scribble stick, but I thought, I really need to put on here, write on here what I want it to say. I am grateful for reflection, because I don't want to put these black circles where it's going to interfere, with what I want to write on here. So I put that on there, and again, I made a mistake, and I spelt create wrong. I didn't notice this until a little bit later. So anyway, okay, so I wrote that on there. I'm like, great, I got that on there. I'm going to stick my tag on here. I'm going to put some circles on here, and I'll be done. And I just use the same, it's a black Posca pen that I'm using to write on here. And I end up using that instead of the scribble stick to put the circles on there. So I put a couple of circles on there, and this pretty much is the page that I did. So yeah, that's the page for today. If you guys like this video, you can give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more, you can subscribe to my channel, or you can leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I appreciate you stopping by and watching my videos. And so yeah, I just felt like it needed something more, but I couldn't figure out what more to add to it. So yeah, then I noticed, oh, typo, so I had to squeeze a little E in there for grateful, and then I circled those and decided to call it done because I couldn't think of what else to do. So thank you for stopping by and watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.